Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Makati Medical Center's Health Podcast, where all of us can learn a thing or two about taking better care of ourselves. This is Dr. Gia Season at your service again today. Now, this month's session will be all about stroke, as seen kanina sa slide show namin. From what causes it, kung ano yung pwede mag-trigger nun, down to ways for optimal recovery. So kaya yung title ng podcast natin for today is Life Before, During, and After Stroke, a closer look for better care. So yung segments natin for today will be three. Yung first, ano nga ba ang basics ng stroke? Second will be, ano nga ba ang mga available medical treatments for stroke patients? And third, of course, yung question and answer portion. As promised, we will be joined by Makati Med Cerebrovascular Surgeon Dr. Guillermo Victorino T. Liabres. I will call him Gino. Hello, Gino.
Hello po, magandang tanghali.
Magandang tanghali, and maraming salamat for joining us. Kakakita ko lang kay Gino last month at napag-usapan nga namin na I think it's about time to talk about stroke. Diba? Kasi we have been hearing a lot of cases, unfortunately, nowadays. So, ready ka na ba, Gino? Any opening words? Next.
Well, maybe the best opening word is prevent stroke as much as we can. Better to avoid the hospital rather than get treated with it.
Yes, that's true. And I agree, no? That's why today, learning session ito para at least aware tayong lahat, no? Mga first signs of stroke. Kagaya nga kanina dun sa slideshow, napakaganda nun. And it's really pretty easy to understand. And nga pala, hi to Yumi, my Yumi who is watching all the way from Toronto. So hello, Yumi. Okay, so for our first segment, let's talk about stroke. Okay. So for Gino, may mga questions kami na prepare. First of which is, can you explain kung ano nangyayari sa ating body when stroke happens? And nag-iiba-iba ba ito for every person?
Well, what happens with stroke is that we have to understand first how the brain needs blood. The brain is very integral to our system, sa ating katawan. No? It requires non-stop supply ng nutrients through the bloodstream. So if it gets disrupted within the span of seconds to minutes, nagkakaroon na ng drastic changes sa mga brain cells natin, which translates to our functions. So what we see, the changes in the face, with the speech and motor function, are one of the many effects of the stroke. It depends upon the severity. So no stroke is the same. If someone would have noticed, some doctors would tell them you would have a silent stroke. So if it's a silent stroke, it's still a stroke. It just so happens that the part of the brain that was affected is not concerned with any significant motor or cognitive function. Kaya po nagsustroke yung brain pero walang nakikita yung pasyente, but it's still a stroke, no? As explained by our infographic, may two types siya, no? Yung hemorrhagic or yung dumudugo na stroke, or yung ischemic, which is yung bumara sa ugat. But they would present with almost similar presentation, kaya dapat with signs of stroke, ER na kagad tayo, as told by our FAST, F-A-S-T, mnemonic for stroke events.
Gino, you mentioned about yung kanina yung mga silent stroke, etc. Does stroke happen all at once? Or meron bang gradual onset for days or weeks, maybe even beforehand? And ano-ano yung mga signs and symptoms to watch out for?
Okay. The first thing would be yung signs and symptoms to watch out for. Ito na po yun, yung binanggit sa FAST, no? Yung ating changes sa face, arms, and doon sa speech. But those are the very obvious ones, no? Pero I think the other things that we need to check would be headache, usually new onset headache na hindi natin ma-explain. The other would be, this can be associated if regular po tayo na nag-check ng blood pressure, kung may mga changes ng BP, kung palaging mataas the past few days, those can be early warning signs. So, some strokes happen all at once, no? Kung talagang hemorrhagic na talaga may pumutok na malaking ugat, it's very drastic. The patient becomes non-responsive talaga immediately after. Pero for the ischemic type or yung mga nagbabara na type ng stroke, sometimes you have these transient attacks, no? Parang nagkakaroon sila ng stroke episode pero after a few minutes or to an hour, biglang nagre-reverse na parang walang nangyari. So, pag nagkakaroon na po kayo ng ganoong symptoms, better see the doctor ASAP. Kasi the likelihood of having a very full-blown stroke within the next 5 years is very, very high. So, pag meron na pong ganoon na symptoms, wag nyo pong i-dismiss na parang, pagod lang to or kulang lang ako sa tulog. Better check na po talaga a specialist, a neurologist or a neurosurgeon po.
Gina, ito ba yung tinatawag na transient ischemic attack? Is that it?
Yes. Opo. The transient ischemic attack.
Okay.
So, yun yung mga reversible strokes na tinatawag po natin.
Ayun, no, importante yung term na ginamit ni Dr. Liabres na reversible stroke kasi sometimes we get this impression na pagka-stroke, automatic, it's deadly. It can, but early signs or early detection is still key to preventing it from progressing. Am I right, Gino?
Yes po, Doktora.
Okay. So, next question is, ang stroke ba ay, is stroke a susceptibility for everyone? Or is it simply triggered by certain lifestyle habits?
Well, based on a great number of researches available, if I were to summarize it into 3 factors, no? Number 1 would be the patient factor. Ibig sabihin, ito yung mga inherent risks associated with us. So, ito po yung mga blood problems, bleeding or clotting problems sa katawan, genetics.
Okay.
So those are factors na hindi na natin mamomodify, no? But once meron na po tayo nun, it is something na dapat medyo we have to be aggressive, lalo na kung may family history tayo. The other one would be the modifiable risk factors po na tinatawag natin, which is actually influenced by 2 things, no? The things that our environment imposes on our bodies, and the second would be on what we put inside our bodies. No?
Yes.
So smoking, alcohol intake, high-fat diet, high-sodium diet, even sugar is implicated to developing stroke. So it's really hard to parang all of a sudden stop because sometimes these are our comfort areas of comfort, and with stress, it's really hard to not be stressed considering it can be work, the family, hindi mo naman pwedeng tanggalin yung stress basta-basta. So, it's more of the stress modulation. So, it's actually an interplay of not just parang if you think that not taking rice is enough, actually it's not. It has to be well-rounded talaga. So, Makati Med has that. We offer the physical, the cognitive, no? Whatever reinforcement that we do, no? Kasi lifestyle change is not just a simple thing. It has to be a continuous process.
Yeah, it's very, totoo yung sinabi mo, Gino, no? It has to be holistic also. Kasi hindi lang isang aspect ng life mo yung titingnan mo eh. Meron rin dyan yung stress modulating aspect of it. Ganda nun. So, guys, remember that. Tapos, I think you have answered this earlier, but again, for purposes na mga kaka-join lang dito sa Facebook Live natin, is there a chance that genetics play a role whenever we talk about stroke?
Sometimes po, no? There are certain clotting disorders na that the patient's blood easily clots than as compared with the rest of the people. Some genetic problems predisposes patients to have problems with the blood vessels in the
Yes.
brain, making them easier to rupture. So, pag mga ganun po, pag may genetic screening tayo, especially if you have one or two family members that have this history, it's better to get tested, no? Better consult your local neurologist or neurosurgeon to help you with the process. And for those naman na who don't have a genetic problem, I think this segment would be the best time to say it kasi the brain is easily disregarded when it comes to checkups. Lagi nga
Yeah.
pinapacheck ECG, blood test, cholesterol, the heart. Pero the brain, everyone is afraid. There's a stigma na ko, baka may makita, hindi ko na ipapacheck yung brain ko. So, what is an indication that you might need to get your brain checked? Pag may nakita na sa ECG or sa blood, whatever happens in the blood vessels of the heart, it also happens in the brain. So kung may changes early ka na sa heart, better have the brain checked. It's better to be proactive than reactive kasi ang stroke, once it strikes, mas mahirap na maghabol.
Yeah, and kanina dito nga sa comment section natin, Gino, nagtanong si Anthony Garcia kung meron po bang stroke na heart-related.
Oh, yes. Meron po. We called it the cardioembolic type, no? Yung pong nakita natin sa infographic ng Makati Med na mga bumabara, that's atherosclerosis. But sometimes, if we have abnormal heart rate, no, mga abnormal heart rhythms that predisposes, kasi the heart has to contract in proper synchronous movement, no, for the blood to propel forward. But if the heart is not contracting well, so nagkakaroon ng turbulence inside the chambers of the heart and nagde-develop ng clotting. Now, if you have this clotting condition pa where your blood makes parang mas prone pa to develop clots, then minsan the clot from the heart dislodges and goes to the brain. So that's what you call a cardioembolic stroke, no? So when a patient comes to us, hindi lang brain workup yan, we also work up the heart, the blood, everything.
Yun, no? So that's very important. So very telltale sign talaga yung mga blood tests, no? That's a very important aspect na minention ni Dr. Liabres. And you're welcome, Anthony. And later on, please, guys, ask your questions sa comment section. And later on, napaaga lang yung question ni Anthony, but Dr. Liabres will be willing to answer it. So, as promised, kanina, yung topic, itong part ng segment ng podcast for today, we'll talk about management naman ng stroke. Now, for the first question we have for Dr. Liabres is, what to do? Ano ang dapat gawin when stroke happens to someone and medical help is not yet available?
Well, the first thing to do is get the patient some rest. Ask the patient to sit. Don't make her or him exert effort while immediately call for help. So that's the best thing to do. And sometimes strokes present with a seizure sa mga patients. So if the patient presents with seizure, it would be helpful to prevent the aspiration from happening. I think we presented it dun sa infographic about aspiration pneumonia. So pag nag-seizure yung patient, we have to put the head to the side. Do not put anything inside the mouth or just let the patient develop a seizure and let the laway, the saliva drool on one side to prevent the aspiration. And again, call for help because time is brain. The more time that you delay the patient to bring to a hospital, more brain cells are lost. So pag ganito, it's much easier to think as compared to a heart attack. You just position the patient, call for help. And I think that's about it.
Yeah. Gino, ilang you mentioned kanina it can happen in seconds, diba?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's the usual window period na you can save, a patient who's a stroke, who has stroke?
Well, usually yung
period.
Yeah, yung pong tinatawag natin na clot buster therapy, no? It is a combined treatment with medical where we inject clot busters and with my colleagues naman po. I don't do it, but the endovascular neurosurgeons naman of our hospital would mechanically extract the clot from the brain, no, through an minimally invasive procedure na where they puncture an artery in our hands or in our inguinal area to access the artery in the brain to
Mhm.
remove the clot. So the window period po that with the 3 to 4.5 hours. So time is brain. We don't really want to maximize the 4.5 hours kasi once the patient
Right.
arrives at the ER, we have to prepare the patient. So talagang we have to be snappy talaga when it comes to the brain. Though sometimes this is where I come in, no? The brain bypass procedure which I do is not respective of the golden period, no?
Okay. What
We
happens
can
sa brain bypass, Gino?
the brain bypass. So let's go with the stroke, no? It only works for strokes that are blocked, not really the
Mm.
hemorrhagic type of stroke, no?
Okay.
Um, we have to select a group of patients who
Mhm.
are good candidates. Bypass surgery for the brain is not for all stroke patients. There are
Okay.
very select patients that can respond to this therapy. So Makati
Mhm.
Med has that. We can identify which patients need this, and if they do need it, they respond very, very well. So just to give you an idea, I've had a patient, 74-year-old patient before, who had a
Mhm.
complete stroke. Paralyzed siya from the left hand and feet for 2 weeks. The patient was referred to me 2 weeks post-stroke. And
Okay.
with the team, with multidisciplinary team of neurologists, neurosurgeon, endovascular, and myself included, the cerebrovascular, we were able to find out that the patient is a good candidate for bypass. So true
Right.
enough, the bypass procedure went well, and immediately second day post-stroke, the patient is able to move the left hand.
Wow.
So it was really most often than not, the stigma is pag nag-stroke ka na tapos completely paralyzed,
Yeah.
chances are for life na yan. But there are some patients that do respond to it. So again, Makati Med has it, and we have the complete workup for you. So it's not
Right.
really a losing battle na ngayon with stroke. We are
Ah,
having an upper hand na.
Gino, this yung brain bypass, we didn't have this before. Let's say, if I may recall, mga 10 years ago, we haven't heard of that. So, masasabi mo ba that these are the technologies that are, kind of moving in terms of healthcare?
Mhm.
So, more choices are being given to patients, di ba? Like yung patient ko,
Yes.
kung dati, paralyzed na siya, at least may hope, di ba?
Yes. Mhm. So, the technology before has improved na po. Even the researches, the studies. Kasi there was a time in the early 90s and early year 2000 that there was an increasing number of bypass for stroke.
Okay.
Pero the outcomes of those studies were not good. That's
Mhm.
why bypass surgery, even though it has been here for quite some time,
Mhm.
hindi po siya nag-thrive. But with the current advent of proper diagnostic techniques, that we were able to identify that yun nga po, there's a very select group of patients that responds to this kind of treatment. Thereby, nagkakaroon po tayo ng better outcomes. That's why our numbers now are increasing at the moment.
Nice. And you mentioned kanina, Gino, na may mga candidates.
Mm-hmm.
You carefully, hindi, not everyone is eligible para sa brain bypass surgery. Can you mention a few um, criteria na pasok na pwedeng candidate for brain bypass?
Okay. Usually po, this is highly very technical, but
Mhm.
we do two important tests.
Mhm.
So, if the doctor will tell you that you are a candidate for brain bypass, at least a brain CT perfusion
Yes.
and a catheter angiogram for the brain is done. Yun po yung
Okay.
two important tests.
Mhm.
So the catheter angiogram, it's like the same as the angio of the heart, no? We're
Yes.
just doing it with the vessels of the brain. But I think the more important test would be the CT perfusion, no? It's
Yes.
like a CT scan of the brain, but it measures the amount of flow on certain areas of the brain. So
Right.
dun po namin makikita kung yung patient mag-i-improve with bypass. Kasi what bypass does is we make a new blood supply towards the brain. So if you have blood vessels in the brain that are clogged and barado, we cannot replace those. So
Yeah.
when I talk to my patients, think of it this way. A cerebrovascular neurosurgeon is a plumber of the brain. So where we check your pipes, and if you have a plumbing problem at your home, it's either you change the pipes or you do something to clear the pipes. But we cannot do that in the human body. Instead,
Yes.
we provide a new blood flow. So that's where the bypass surgery comes in. We get an artery on the scalp, or we harvest an artery somewhere and we connect it inside the brain, and you have it, a new blood supply to the brain.
Really?
So only certain patients would respond to that, and we have to properly select you if you are the right patient for that. And actually right now po, even the researches now are gearing towards yung tinatawag natin na preventive bypass, same as sa heart, no? Kung may
Ano nga ba yun, Gino?
Oo, but we don't have the technology for screening yet dito sa Pilipinas. We have the PET scan, but
Mhm.
we don't have yet the yung pong drug or yung tracer na kailangan. So that's something to look into in the future, kasi with the proper parameters identified, we can actually predict which patients will have a stroke even if magbigay tayo
Wow.
ng antiplatelet. So kung ma-identify natin yon, then the best treatment for stroke is to not have stroke at all. So, do the surgery before it strikes you. So, again, proper selection po. Kasi that's the only way we can show na ito talaga yung beneficial for the patient.
That's true, no? Yung proper selection. And the good news is, meron. It's already possible. Unlike before, na talagang parang no choice, no? Now, Gino, I'll take you back again to stroke, no? Can you walk us through in terms of what happens when a stroke patient is taken into the emergency room? What are the usual protocols or treatments that are given to them?
Okay, let's start first. When we talk about protocols, we think about two things: the diagnostic and the therapeutic protocol. The
Right.
diagnostic, we have to diagnose first that this is indeed a stroke.
Mhm.
So we usually do imaging studies after a baseline neurologic exam. No, the baseline neurologic exam, we have a scoring system for that, and
Mhm.
we check kung ano po yung mga score, and usually that dictates the treatment protocol after, eh. And that's the time where we will call for a neuro response team to immediately address the problem. Of course, basic blood test, heart test, everything, we do the diagnostic, a full workup for stroke is done. And after that, once identified, we will categorize the patient if they are a good candidate for the clot buster protocol, or
Yeah.
if it is a hemorrhagic type of stroke where the neurosurgeons come in, where we need to do
Yeah.
surgery and take out the blood clot in the brain. So that's in a nutshell the
Yeah.
protocol that we do here in Makati Med, and we do it very fast.
Yes. Yeah. Remember the acronym FAST. Ano ulit yun, Gino, yung FAST?
Yeah, face, arm, speech, and time. I think the most important there is the time part, because time is brain. So every second lost would be millions of neurons lost. So we have to save the
Oh,
neurons.
that's
Yes,
true. Same.
marami po. Mm.
So once again, is it possible, may nagtanong is it possible for stroke patients to actually recover completely? And what factors and treatments make this possible?
Yes, actually, the main attribute for recovering from stroke would be the severity on how it struck you in the first
Mhm.
place. Of course, if the stroke area is severe, kunyari malaking part ng brain yung tinamaan, then chances are you won't recover 100%.
Yeah.
But if you have a silent stroke, or you have strokes in an area where you are quickly reversed, or you were treated in the golden period, then chances are you would recover 100%. So it's much better now. So we cannot not emphasize that time is brain. Time is your ally here. So the only way to maximize recovery is to minimize the downtime from the stroke. So,
Yun.
pag nagkaroon, takbo na po kaagad. Wag nang matakot or anything. Let us take care of you here.
Yes, that's right. And in Makati Met, we offer a comprehensive stroke rehabilitation program for initial mobilization and prevention of complications, as mentioned by Dr. Labres. So, depending on the patient's condition, he or she may progress to a more advanced stroke rehab program, which will now include a goal focused and tailored functional training. So, to know more about this, you may reach out to Makati Med Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation at 888-888-999, locals 3330-23331. The center offers physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy, including dysphagia, evaluation, and management. So there. So another question to Dr. Liabres. See, yung patient nag-recover na siya. Will there be conditions na maaaring mag-lead or that it will persistently experience or would have to deal with regardless kapag naka-recover na siya?
Well, again, no, it depends kung ano po yung part ng brain na tinamaan with the stroke. And number two, kung ano yung cause ng stroke. If it's like what we were discussed a while ago, yung pong cardioembolic, then we have to treat the heart problem. Kasi if the heart problem does not get treated, then even though nag-recover ka completely with the first stroke can attack again. So we have to control those risk factors, the modifiable risk factors that we have control of. No? So, and yun nga po, actually one clinical factor that I have in my bypass patients, these are the type of patients that despite best medical therapy, they still have recurrent strokes. Usually, pag mga ganun po yung mga patients, they're already a good screening candidate for bypass surgery of the brain. Kasi nagfe-fail na yung medical therapy eh. So, they might be a good candidate na for the bypass procedure.
Right. So, it answers yung kaninang, kasi may nag-direct message na, so stroke can happen again. Diba?
Yes.
So, we have to watch out for that. Gino, meron mo mga healthy practices na dapat ma-adopt yung mga patients natin to, at least lessen the reoccurrence of another stroke?
Okay. Of course, like what I said, it's what you put in your body and what stresses are imposed on your body. So you cannot really control the stress per se, but you can actually modulate the stress that you receive in your body with cognitive rehabilitation. No, that can help you manage the stress. Of course, diet. We cannot emphasize diet and lifestyle modification. We know it's hard. We know it's easier to go to your comfort food. If smoking releases your stress, it may be true, but once stroke hits you, it's really hard, especially kung ikaw yung breadwinner ng family mo, where your kids, your wife depend on you. So you really have to think of them and be it's a matter of perspective. Of course, easier said than done, pero think of the bigger picture na you have to do it now. There's no time to delay it. You just have to make the change now.
That's true. Now, mag-shift tayo sa isang diagnostic exam na tatanungin ko sa'yo, Gino. Does transcranial Doppler ultrasound help detect stroke now? And how?
Yes, transcranial Doppler alone is not good, but it is a good enhancing diagnostic procedure when we check a number of vascular cases. Like for me, as a bypass surgeon, transcranial Doppler is very important in my diagnostic arsenal because that checks the speed of blood flow in the brain. That's actually one way of predicting development of stroke. It's non-invasive as compared with an MRI that sometimes you have to inject a dye.
Yeah.
Transcranial Doppler, it's just an ultrasound machine where we poke on 3 windows on the head, to check the blood vessels there. It's a good screening procedure. Usually, maganda po siyang isabay when we do our carotid Doppler studies.
Oh,
So,
okay.
we are pushing kasi na pag may carotid Doppler na, might as well na pag may nakita na sila here, screen na natin sa brain kasi that is already a good indicator that whatever happens here, it happens to the small vessels inside the brain.
That's right, no? So, speaking of that, for more information about transcranial Doppler ultrasound, you may contact Makati Med Neurovascular Laboratory at 8888-999, local 7320. Now, let's go to the questions that are actually in our comment section. So, kanina na-answer na ni Gino yung sa heart, that's yung thromboembolic na stroke. Another question from Mayumi is, advisable po ba mag-take ng aspirin 80 milligrams if suspected na nag-stroke?
Okay. As much as aspirin is a very helpful drug in preventing strokes, it is also coupled with side effects if taken improperly. So, better po to consult a neurologist, a cardiologist, or a neurosurgeon before you start taking this. We have to check first that you really have a stroke or a silent stroke. Kasi when we talk about therapies, we have to outweigh the benefits over the risk. No, of course there is risk in taking aspirin, and we have to make sure that the benefit of taking it outweighs the risk that you get from it. Okay, so consult first before you take it.
Yun, importante. Consult first. Okay, another question from Shaira Nabong. How do you care for someone po para maging optimal ang recovery nila after stroke?
Okay. Contrary to popular belief na yung critical period ng stroke happens in the hospital, even though it might be true, the most important part of recovery from stroke happens actually at a later time. The golden period for recovery happens around 3 to 6 months after the stroke event. So, if you want to care for someone for the optimal recovery, then put good things inside their body. So, they have to eat right, they have to eat properly, and I cannot emphasize the value of rehabilitation. Stroke rehabilitation, no? It's not your typical run-of-the-mill physical therapy, no? There's a different field, what we call a neurorehabilitation process. It's a very complex process na contrary to what many would know. Naku, pag therapy, massage yan, kinokuryente and everything. Actually, it's more than that. The brain is more complex than that. So, for you to optimize, it has to be specific with the function. And sometimes we put your occupation into consideration. Like, kunyari, if you are a driver, then the rehab would be focused on your hand-eye coordination as well as your feet when you're driving. So, it has to be tailored to your activities of daily living. And of course, kung kunyari, yung house niyo would have second or third floors, then stairs ambulation would be part of the training as well. So, kumbaga, it is tailored to your environment for you to get the best recovery possible. So, para maalagaan po, just comply with the doctor, no? Give the medications on time, give them the proper diet, and consistently encourage them to follow up with rehab. Kasi usually the depression sets in, no? Pag na-stroke yung patients, they feel useless, they feel down. So important ang emotional support coming from the family. So that's how you optimize recovery.
Nice. So talagang sa lahat ng bagay talaga support is very important. So another question from Sid Nabong. At what age po nag-start na maging vulnerable to stroke?
Well, right now, bumabata na yun, nagsustroke ngayon eh. So, once you have the risk factors, better start modifying na and have your annual physical exam, annual lab test, no? Get an executive checkup from us here in Makati Med, so we can already screen you. Kasi, of course, as we age, we get more vulnerable to stroke, but there is such a thing as stroke in the young. So,
At what
it's
age yun, Gino? And when you say stroke in the young, what ano yung youngest na na-experience mo?
the youngest stroke patient I had was a 4-year-old patient.
Wow.
Old, pero it's because of a genetic problem naman.
Right.
Yung tawag po na moya-moya disease, no?
Mhm.
The ischemic or the atherosclerotic stroke, sometimes that happens as early as age 30. May mga stroke patients na ako, 25. Nagde-develop na because they
Yeah,
are morbidly obese, they are in a lifestyle na very sedentary. So, those are the things that really, we're in that age na rin ngayon na we spend a lot of time in front of the screens. So,
yes, that's true.
movement is decreased. So, sedentary lifestyle, very increasing na siya ngayon, risk factor for these kinds of problem.
That's true. And that actually is connected to another question from Sid Nabong. May certain activities po ba na nati-trigger talaga ang pag-occur ng stroke?
Okay. Cliche as it may sound, yung sinasabi nila na galaw-galaw, baka ma-stroke. Actually, there's some truth to it because
Yes.
with no movement, your blood tend to get nagsistasis sila, hindi masyadong gumagalaw. And when there is not much movement, then you are prone to develop clots. So regular physical activity is very important. So
That's
any activity is fine as long as you keep moving, you keep the circulation ongoing. No? So that's very important po.
okay. This last question is from Matthew Aldrin Kwasay. How soon can someone expect to recover after a stroke?
Well, again, no, very important. I think minention ko, meron tayong scoring system about the severity of stroke, no? And as early as sometimes, no, kung transient ischemic attack, within an hour or two, nagre-recover na sila. But if you have this patient who have a completed stroke, then you have to play the long game na tinatawag
Yeah.
natin. So 3 to 6 months, nagkakaroon ng golden time for recovery. It will continuously progress up to 1 year. Tapos most likely after 1 year, kung ano na yung function mo after the stroke, most likely that's it na. So kumbaga, the purpose of rehabilitation 6 months to a year after stroke is more of your maintenance para mas hindi recur or mas humina pa yung currently debilitated status. It's more of maintenance of function. So contrary to what they would say na useless na ang therapy 6 months to a year after stroke, useless ang acute rehab therapy for stroke. But maintenance therapy for stroke is very useful after the stroke period. So that's why a comprehensive neuro rehab care is very important. Your doctor must know what they're doing for you, what they are planning for you. And yan nga po, Makati Med, we have it.
Yun eh. We have it here. So before we officially end our episode for today, any last words, Gino? Any last advice for our viewers for today in preventing stroke?
Okay, don't be afraid with the stigma of stroke. Maraming nakakatakot because stroke strikes us close to home. I think most of the viewers here, the reason that you're watching here, probably you have a friend, a workmate, or a family friend who have suffered a stroke. So education is key. The more educated we are in managing stroke, the more we can tide over this problem. Let us break the stigma of fear from stroke. We arm ourselves with knowledge and do our best to prevent in developing a stroke in the first place. It doesn't happen naman biglaan talaga in such a way na biglang, stroke na lang ako na normal naman ako. It's actually the small things that happen inside our body that we fail to recognize before it's too late.
Very, very well said. And with that, thank you so much, Dr. Labres, for joining us this afternoon and for your insights regarding stroke. Again, sana maging aware lahat. And thank you again for all that you do, Gino. So,
Thank you din po to our viewers.
and thank you to our viewers. So, everyone, have a safe day and see you on July.